Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Life with Loverly podcast. I'm thrilled to bring you today's episode because I had the chance to sit down with Jen Reed, who you probably know as the Sister Studio on Instagram. Jen is a wife, mom of two, and creator of the Sister Studio, which is a digital space she has grown to over 2 million followers, helping us all find and enjoy affordable and achievable style. In this episode, Jen and I chat about the early days of growing a brand on Instagram, the importance of your girlfriend group text, her advice for new creators, how to elevate any outfit, and building her fragrance and candle company, Life in Lilac. Jen is a true girl's girl and a cheerleader of all those around her. I know you'll be encouraged by this episode. Here's my conversation with Jen Reed. Hi, friends. Welcome back to today's episode of the Life with Loverly podcast. I'm so excited to have one of my old friends and one of my first friends in the influencer space. I'm sure you guys are all familiar, but Jen Reed is joining us today. Hi, how are you?
Hello, hello. I'm
S-
good. I'm so excited to be talking to you. I feel like it's been a minute since
I
we've
know.
got to really,
Y-
connect.
Just truly sit down and we are overdue for a major wine night of discussing all the
Well,
things.
yes, truly.
Um, Truly. I know we've talked in the past about just getting a group of girls and going somewhere and it's okay, I want to take those conversations out of the group chat and make it happen.
Mhm. Same.
Um,
Is needed. It would fill all of our cups, that's for sure.
I know. We talk about that a lot just in the influencer space, how it can be so lonely at times, but so just once you get together with other creators, how just fulfilled you feel.
Yes, it's a little isolating a little bit
Mhm.
because I mean, we all have, our people and our friends or teams in our corner,
Yeah.
but we're like, "Well, what about everybody else?" Like, are they
Right.
experiencing these highs and these lows? And you just need someone to also just like to just just to connect with and
I
say,
know.
"Yeah, we're dealing with those same things here," or "This has really been working for us." Like, I've learned
Yeah.
so much just from other creators, even like you, or just who share advice or
Yeah.
whatever. It's so nice.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like after the meeting in Dallas in January, there were so many tips from that I was like, hold on, I'm gonna try that. And it started working.
Same, because we all get stuck in our ways, but only because we don't really know any different
I
until
know.
someone, is kind enough to offer up some things that have worked for them, and then we're all like, "Oh."
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I know it's kind of this is a crazy time of year. Are you feeling the pressure with your kids and school ending and just I feel like these next 2 weeks are about to be wild and crazy. How do you handle mom life and running a business and showing up on the internet in times
I
where
will
it's
tell
crazy?
you right now, so you and I are in different seasons, okay? Because
Yeah.
your kids are still a lot younger than mine. When your kids get to the ages that they are mine, you instead of being like, "Oh my gosh, like, we're so great for summer," and then a week later, you're like, "No, like, what's going on?" The kids are like 'cause your kids still are very dependent on you.
Yeah.
Mine are more independent, and so you really realize that time is fleeting, and you, like, cannot wait to have any
Yeah.
extra, like, time with your kids, so it's a little bit different. So we're in a
Totally.
season where I'm looking forward to it, and each summer I've gotten better about making sure I'm prioritizing that limited summertime with the kids, and
Yep.
maybe work has to go a little bit slower, and then as soon as they're back, then I'm, like, grinding it out. But it was about 2 years ago when I realized, like, "Oh my gosh, like, now it's going by so fast, and now, they
Yeah.
don't always are gonna wanna hang out with me, and then, in 6 years, Cam is gonna be going to college," like, and so
That is
it's, like,
crazy.
crazy, and so but when they were younger, it was major, like, freak out because, like, "I need to work, and these kids need
Yeah.
my attention, like, every minute, and they need activities, like, what are we doing next? What are we doing next?" So, I will say
Yeah.
it's a little bit different in the season that we're in because 'cause they're like little adults, and
Yeah.
so it's different, but it's fun. These are, like, really, really fun ages, it's good. So I'm actually at this phase in life, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting because just thinking back to when you first started, and I mean, I remember some of like your very first stories were sitting in your garage, like your kids are playing and
Mhm.
you're talking to the internet. For those of us who have like known you for a really long time and have followed along, and I'm sure so many of your followers too, like just watching your kids like where they are and growing up is just like really cool. But um how have you felt just that things have changed since when we first started to now? Like, I mean, I feel like it's like a completely different world.
So, I will say a lot of times I'm like, "I miss the good old days."
I
Like, it
know.
was just it just seemed, um I just felt it was just more intimate, and
I
even
know.
though even the at having a larger following even then, just the industry itself seemed more intimate, and now oftentimes it can feel like a rat race, and
Mhm.
because this is an industry that is constantly growing and more saturated, um, sometimes I feel like it's harder for people to wanna just jump in and connect with you because they don't realize that, like, I am an influencer that really does want that connection where
Yeah.
some, that's not really what they're trying to do, and that's fine. Everybody has their own whatever works for them. And so it's just different. I feel like as consumers, as viewers of influencers, everything has shifted.
Mhm.
And not that I don't love my job, and I'm sure you do as well, but I do kind of miss how it just seemed more intimate a little bit back
Yeah.
10 years ago.
I know, which is so wild. One of the things I was thinking about is like back then, so much of what bloggers, really before the influencer term came to be, it felt like there were so many people like sharing more higher end, like luxury items. And I feel like you took a different route. Like, how do you feel going that route really like set you up for success in like where you are now?
It's crazy. And I get asked this a lot, but so back in the day, everything was very, inspirational, editorial,
Hmm.
very, expensive. I had quit my job. I mean, we were barely, barely, barely getting by. And even growing up, we never went without ever. I
Yeah.
don't even think I even realized till I was an adult that like we didn't have as much money as I thought that we did. Cause my parents never like, it wasn't like a thing, but we never, you know, lived a frivolous life. So that
Yeah.
I've always been like that way my whole life. Um, and so I was watching a lot of influencers. I mean, I've always loved reading blogs and people's
Yeah.
style, their fashion, but I couldn't afford any of that stuff. And if I had extra money, we had always went to the kids. And so I was like, well, I still look cute, darn it! Like I'm still looking really good at my
Right.
Walmart and my Target and my Marshalls and my TJ Maxx. And so I just started like sharing that kind of casually. And I felt like in that moment there wasn't. I mean, there just weren't a lot of people doing that. Not any really that I
Totally.
had seen or had really taken off in that, direction. And so I started growing rapid fire fast because people were telling their friend, well, there's this one influencer and she's going to Target and she looks cute. Or there's this influencer and she's, you know,
Yeah.
wearing, whatnot. And so I feel like at that moment, a lot of women felt like seen. They felt seen. Like I'm in the same season of life as you. We're like barely getting by, or the money we do have again has to go to other things and not the jacket I'm wearing or whatever. And so, that niche and I think about too my childhood, sometimes I think about, like, the God's plan for me and the way I was raised, and everything kinda led me to that. And then now it's harder because like, that is, like I mean, that is whatever all that is influencing is
Yeah.
trying to share a lot of times people share affordable things, but in the beginning
It was not like that.
it was
Like,
not like that at all. Like,
but
I was not shopping from any influencer because
yeah,
I could not afford or justify the cost of things that were being shown to me, even though I loved looking at it, like, loved, and I still do.
totally. Well, and I also feel like around the time where you and I were starting out and some others, it gave us a chance to be seen and share like what we felt was worth sharing. We were sharing beautiful things that was affordable, that like anybody could then like recreate that look and feel good in them in their skin, but not at this huge price point. And it almost like, I mean, I remember I used to shop at Loft with my mom when she was a teacher and I was in high school. And so then to like be sharing like a Loft try on, I'm like, this is crazy. It's coming full circle.
Yeah.
But I feel like if more people knew about this affordable work find or whatever, it just gave like average women this opportunity to be like, oh, I can like look good like that. And
Yeah.
it's
And
still,
I
I'll
feel
feel
like
good.
back then, our niches were so okay, this is interesting, I didn't think about this, you just said that about workwear. Our niches that we had, maybe it was me sharing, affordable stuff, you were really doing a lot of workwear back then, and I mean,
Yeah.
all my friends who were in offices were like, "Loverly Gray is the it girl for workwear," and it was, like, cute stuff, but it wasn't stuffy, it was, like,
Right.
cute workwear and things you always style things way in ways that people's brain didn't naturally think to do.
Hmm.
And so that was your and everybody, and then maybe it's me over here with affordable, but it
Yeah.
wasn't very saturated. So it was like these were your go-to girls for this. And now there's like 10,000 girls who do affordable and there's
I know.
10,000 girls who do workwear. And it's like so much harder. Like, oh yeah. And I love to see, new creators come up and excited and it's all is so great. But it was just so different
I know.
back then. Like it was easier for people to know, like, I know Jen for this, and I know
Totally.
Humphrey Gray for this, but
I know. And now I feel like it's like, oh, I feel like we gave this level of encouragement to these other girls who are also like, I kind of want to share that too. Or I feel like I have a good sense of fashion, which is great. I'm happy that we were an encouragement. But now I feel like we're in a part where it's like, okay, how do we continue to like stay standing out? Um, I mean, I know speaking for myself, sometimes I'm like, gosh, like everybody is sharing like XYZ item from Target or XYZ from like
mhm,
Old Navy. Like, so, you know,
it's tricky, and
it can just be
consumers
hard.
sometimes think, like, "Well, why?" I get this sometimes in DMs, "Well, why are all these creators sharing the same things?" And I'm like, "I've been sharing these things for
Yeah.
10 years, it's just that the market has gotten larger, and so, I don't know what to say, like,
Yeah.
it tends to happen,
Well, also, there's only like so many retailers. Like,
right.
eh,
And the good ones are good, and that's why
right.
we're all shopping there, and
Right.
that's why our followers are, excited to, shop those stores also, but
Yeah. It's so interesting. Do you feel like there was like one thing or one season where things just like really took off for you that you look back and you're like, I can like pinpoint to that like one time where it started just like really going up?
I feel like I started having a lot of growth in the beginning was when we all started doing I think it was just a couple of us were doing
Yeah.
so stories just before y'all, we're old. So this is before there were stories. Okay. So then stories became a thing. And then we started doing the try-ons.
Yes.
Okay. Which I know now is such a normal thing, but that was not a thing back then. And
No.
I know you remember like, slowly and surely some of us would share a few things in the dressing room and then we're like, okay, now we're gonna do this. And people were like, women were like, oh my God, it's like watching QVC. Like this is so
Yeah.
great. Like
This is great.
yeah, so I can see that, and so I feel like that was, like, building a lot of momentum for me, and then I feel like it really kinda took off, and this was for Black Friday, okay?
Hmm.
And I had this great idea. I'm gonna get up on Black Friday, as I always do with my family, and I'm gonna share the best of the best deals for toys at the time, kids' clothes, for women, for gifts, whatever, and I got up, and I still do this to this day, and now I feel like a lot of people do that, so it's not anything new, but back then, I was like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna, like we're about to Black Friday this up, and we're gonna do it
Yeah.
together," and I would, like, record my screen, and I'm like I mean, it was not very good content, but it was, like, literally just, like, scrolling sites, and I would be talking through, like, if that's a good deal, that's not, and then I'd compile some things, and then people were like, "This was so helpful." Like, "Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
thank you. I love doing that with you." And then now, 10 years later, we still do the same thing. But, like, that was another big people got to talking, like, "Okay, Jen's the girl for, you know, the
Like
Black Friday."
finding you the sales that you should
Yeah.
actually like spend your money on, you know? Well, it's so funny because I feel like you and I were at the beginning of that like affordability, the sale alerts. I was like a lot more specifically workwear. But then I feel like even being like on the LTK platform, all of a sudden there was this shift of, oh, sale alerts are something that is driving traffic, like sales. And so then they really started shifting, trying to get
Mhm.
everybody to be like,
Yep.
whoa, sales are bringing in a lot. Like, let's talk sales. Whereas, like, that was not something that even they were
No, in the
focusing on.
beginning, no one wanted to share cells.
Right. Which
You know
is
what I mean?
kind
Like,
of
there were
weird
very few of
because
us that were like, "Hey, this is gonna be helpful you this is on sale today." And then
right.
I remember being asked by other creators at the time, like, "But why would you share, like, sale stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" Like,
Because
I've
like
been
more
shopping
people will buy
on
it.
sale my entire life. Like,
Yeah.
like, I'm confused. And so,
Literally. I
so
mean,
it
I
just seemed
I
so normal.
remember, like, going into a store with my mom, we would just, like, skip the whole front of the store and just, like, go back to the sale rack, and it was like, "This is where we live. Like,
Yeah.
this is where we can afford." And so, in my head, I'm like, "Well, why wouldn't I tell somebody that this was on sale? Because, like, you can get 2 of them for this
New,
price."
yes.
It just is so interesting because then I feel like there was this huge, like, shift in the industry.
Yeah, the whole industry started changing and make it now it is like a sell on sale driven market, which is great because
Yeah,
I think it's great that that is now okay and not frowned upon because we're sell shopping or whatever because what? Like so
yeah,
I love to see that that is like, the norm and that even,
mhm,
LTK has they're like sell alert, sell alert. They're
right.
constantly, doing that too. So
Sometimes I'll, like, get their emails and I just think I, like, laugh to myself. I'm like, "I just" so funny because
the
I feel like
shift.
it's just shifted to
Mhm.
focus on things that, like, weren't important at one point, but, I mean, that's just business growth and changing, I guess, so, um, okay, so let's talk a little bit getting a little bit more into the business side of things. Who was your first hire in your business?
Heather.
Heather,
My
okay,
best friend,
and
still rocking and rolling,
e
and, it's crazy because we were like our husbands were like, "Y'all are crazy. Y'all are gonna be fighting and, whatever." Um, but she long story short, she was working at a sales job selling, like, educational tools to schools.
Mhm,
And she had been there forever, loved it, loved it, loved it, and then they had, like, reordered and things, and she was miserable, and every time I talked to her, she's complaining about her job. We've all been there or known someone who's been there where you're just like, "This is not it for me anymore."
right.
And so I was like, Listen, soon as I can, I'm gonna take you from that place.
Yeah,
We're never gonna have to talk about them again, and we're gonna, whatever. I'm gonna do what I can because I just like, I mean, I love her. She's my best friend in the world. I was
yeah,
like, you ain't gonna have to work there forever,
right.
honey. Like,
I got you.
got you. And so as soon as I could, I was like, okay, like we're ready. And we like tested it and did like very like part-time stuff. And then now she's been with me for years, but she
Yeah,
was the first hire. And I honestly cannot even imagine of not having her. Like she keeps me sane. She lifts me up when I'm like crumbling.
yep.
And she's so organized. I am so not organized. Like I don't even know. Like, the business probably would have died if I didn't have her to like keep me like in
Yeah,
line. And we all have to have people like that who have strengths where we are weak. And it just happens also a blessing where she is strong, I'm not, and where I am, she is not. And so the puzzle piece just
like,
fits.
works really well.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say are some non-negotiables when it comes to running your business?
Okay. It's really hard to explain, especially if you're not in this industry. So I'll try to help say it in a easy way to understand. But the payment or being paid for things is like the last thing that is important to our running our business. Whereas you would think for influencing or jobs, okay, well, like, let's discuss financial reward and then we'll see if we can make this work. Where we are the opposite, where if we love a brand and we love a product and then we're able to partner, great. And if
Mhm.
not, like, there's no, like, we turn down probably 99% of deals that are presented to us because if I'm not sharing it with my grandmother, if I don't think my mom would spend her hard-earned dollars or my sisters, like I'm not about like there's just no question.
Yeah.
So and like our the team knows that like it's just not about it's about sharing what we love, and that is it. Like, there's no price that will change that. There's
Yeah.
no twisting of the arm, like, and so, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
that is a big one for us.
Well, I've tell people too, if you want to do this job to like get rich quick or make money, you will not be successful because
If you wanna sell
you
your soul,
right.
I
Oh,
mean,
you could do
literally,
that.
there are people who literally will do that, that you'll jump in this industry and, like, say yes
Yeah.
to things, and then, you won't
You're
here's
not gonna be long-term passionate about
no, and
this.
consumers are not dumb. The
Totally.
people in my community, they are smart. They're smart, intelligent women, and I don't know who else they're following, but they can see. Women know.
Yeah.
We know, and so
Totally.
I think, and I'm not trying to say a way of doing this is bad because everybody has their own ways of doing this. But yeah,
Totally.
that's not the way that I would ever
Yeah.
encourage anyone to go about it.
No. Well, and I think, like, if no money was involved, it's like, well, I would still be telling people
I
that
would still be on
they
here,
should
yes,
get this,
talking
you
about
know?
what I got at Target.
Which is so funny because whenever the time comes to, like, retire or leave this industry at, like, this capacity, I feel like I'm still gonna wanna tell somebody about like,
I know.
outside of my friends just because that's what I've been doing for so long, and even before I was on Instagram, I was, like, telling the girls I worked with, "Oh my gosh, you gotta go check out Loft, blah, blah, blah," and so it's, like, so ingrained. I'm like, "How am I
It
gonna
is.
actually leave that?" But
There have been times where I'm, like, in a low and I, tell Kyle, my husband, maybe it's just time for me just to be done. And then like 3 hours later, oh my gosh, girl, guess what? Like, I'm like, can't wait to like share on, Instagram and like,
yeah.
this is the best thing ever, or maybe it's a new show or a product or a funny story. And he's like, uh-huh. So what about what you just said like
Yeah.
ago?
He's like, "Okay, so you're feeling better now. Good to
Yeah.
know."
So it's like it's so ingrained in the excitement I have to like instantly connect and share things, with my audience. I know that, they're gonna be just as happy about as it's like
Totally.
and I'll be doing it till the end.
I know.
Probably.
Okay, so what are some ways that you remain present with your friends and family while also running a thriving business?
I mean, it sounds silly, but it's like the ongoing group text
Mhm.
that constantly is I'm like, the group text is the glue sometimes,
Yeah.
and, we have a pretty, very, very strong knit, but pretty large girlfriend group, and they're like, "Ugh, I don't know what I would do without them." But it's like the silly things where, like, if you have a birthday, you just know we're celebrating your birthday, and it's not about you. This
Yeah.
is about us.
Right.
We are not celebrating. You don't wanna celebrate your birthday? Great, because it's for us.
'Cause we're getting together
We're
without
getting
you.
together regardless. He's like, "Everyone I don't wanna celebrate my birthday." You're like, "Okay, it's not about you.
Great.
Like, your
Dinner
birthday
is still
is
at
for
this
me."
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, always, like, even when I meet followers out, like, "Oh, your girlfriends," I'm like, "Listen, whoever is in your life that you care about, if they have a birthday, that is a reason to have a dinner, to get together for 2 hours on and have lunch or whatever." And so, I feel like birthdays are more than just the day you were born. Those are the
Right.
glue that keep friendships
So true.
the connection going, and I feel like, it's harder now too, even with my sisters, our kids are sports. I mean, we are, like, in it with sports, and so are my nieces and nephews and my friends' kids, so it does get harder, and so you really just have to, like, prioritize whether it's a birthday or a holiday, and then that time that you get, like, you set the phone down, you're
Yeah.
not or you go on the trip and you're not working. You have to
Right.
say, like, "This is important in my quality time." Um, it's
Totally.
important, and it always, always, always just fuels your soul, your happy cup. I mean,
Mhm.
everything gets like the meters are like on the good
Okay. Well,
after.
so true. I think too, I I feel like we are similar in like, hey, we're putting like so like we're giving it our best. We're doing like the most. And sometimes I'm like, I could keep going just like all the time, but I need something that is makes me put my phone down. And so I'm like, I want the people that like really don't even care about like what's going on the internet that can really pull my mind out of when I'm not working, I can not be working.
Right.
And that is like so
So
helpful.
important.
Yeah,
And
cuz
that's with anyone in whatever career that you are in,
totally.
especially, You're an Enneagram 3, and I think that you are too.
Mhm.
I mean, we can work 24 hours a day, and it's
Yeah.
very, very hard. And there's sometimes where the guilt sets in because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've literally thought about work nonstop for the last however many long, like, I need to set this aside. Am I making sure I'm filling up, you know, the cups of everybody else in my family who
Yeah.
whatever, like, it's just because when you have a job that you love so much first, and then if you're just like a workhorse, it does get hard, and that's with whatever career that you're in.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody sometimes to pull you out and be like, "Okay,
Yeah.
set it down."
It's so true. Okay, so what would be some advice that you would give somebody who's just starting out as a content creator?
I always say to, like, remember your why and remember what you feel like this very moment.
Mhm.
For instance, we just spoke about this in the very beginning. I really was trying to share things that were affordable. If you were in my season of life, I wanted you to feel like you were not alone. You can still look great, feel great without like going into debt or spending money that, whatever. Like, and so that has not changed in me. And I think change is good. We evolve, that shows growth, and,
Yeah.
and that is great, obviously. But I think it's just important to remember, like, in the very beginning, what was your why and make sure that you just don't lose sight of that,
Yeah.
you know?
That's so true. Because it's also kind of easy to do once you get sucked in,
Yeah.
especially I mean, there's like a few newer content creators I've started following that I feel like are just like quickly blowing up. And I can almost like see in their eyes that they're like just overwhelmed at like how much opportunity there is.
Mhm.
And it's just which just sounds like crazy because who wouldn't want more opportunity, but you really have to like be on track with your vision and like
Yes.
what your like goals are for yourself and for your business, or you can be overtaken. I mean, I have definitely been in that situation and had to like reset and be like, okay, whoa,
Same.
like,
That's why it's also important to have people outside of the industry who can keep you grounded
mhm,
because it is very, very, yeah, especially with new creators, and things can happen really fast. And there's a lot of people who I see she's successful. Let me take you under my wing and then let me
yeah,
change your whole everything. And then, it's all seems flashy. And
right,
then, it could also be like the demise. Like, so
totally,
it's just important to have somebody, whether it's your spouse or your friends, your family, who are like, hey, like, whatever
right,
happened to, like, what happened to you?
yeah.
Let's reset here.
Okay, I want to move into a few like fashion questions. You recently posted a reel that showed some ways to majorly elevate an outfit with some minor tweaks. Can you walk us through some of the ways you like to make your outfits look a little bit more put together? Like, pushing up sleeves, adding a belt, tucking your shirt, just kind of like what
Yes,
your
I feel like
elevation
it
tips
kind of
are.
it becomes just who you are, and I know you have to do the exact same way, but it's like, the easiest way to elevate an outfit is to put on accessories. It doesn't matter if
Yeah.
it's you wanna put on one little your favorite dainty necklace, I'm all into, like, layering things or, whatnot, or earrings. Like, even right now, like, the first thing I noticed when I popped on with you was your necklace, which is beautiful. And
Thanks.
so yeah, so gorgeous. So I think it's just the little things, like adding the jewelry, opening your collar, show your neckline, pull your sleeves up, tucking your shirt, add a belt. Um, and it's all things that are very simple, take not a lot of time, and are using things that you already have
Yeah.
in your closet. But if you take any outfit, it doesn't matter what it is, and you take it bare bones, and then maybe put on jewelry, cuff your sleeves, add a belt. I mean, you can see it in the eye. Like, it's
Yeah.
totally will transform. It just makes you just look more elevated, which then I feel like when you look more elevated, you feel more elevated.
Yeah.
Um, and
Well,
so
I
yeah.
think one thing like people don't realize, like you and I, like that's just like in the back of our heads. Like we just know how to do that. That's our passion. It is what it is. But so many times I'm like, if people would only just like put a little bit of planning into their like outfits, like just a little bit of thought, like, hey, here are these things that I like. What do I like about Jen's outfit? Okay, she's always doing these really great necklaces. Let me try that. And then like have that in your back pocket. You've tried it on, it works for you. like, sometimes I think it's just that little bit of planning that could help really continue to elevate somebody's look when that's not their just, like, go-to back
Go
of mind,
to.
"Obviously, I'm gonna put a necklace on."
Yes, even the reel that you're referring to, I should do more content like that because so many people are like, "Whoa, like,
Yeah.
I am the before, I'm not the
Right.
after." Or like even Heather, she's like Jen, she like texted me when I posted that. She's like, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm the before, like I
Yeah.
am doing the just the bare bones thing and didn't think to do some of the stuff that you're showing as the after in that reel." And I was like, but to me, it seems so obvious because I almost didn't post
Yeah.
it. So like, this is gonna seem so obvious and not, but people are like, "Whoa, okay, that was super helpful."
Well, and it's so funny, I think about that at times when I've, like, posted a reel that's like, "Here's how to roll your sleeve," or, like, "Do a front tuck," and I'm like, "This feels crazy," and I know there's gonna be some comments that are like, "We
Yeah,
seriously are talking about that?"
but it's
But
so helpful.
it's great, yeah, and that's the beauty of what we do is, like, being able to give that advice. Okay, so what are your thoughts on barrel jeans?
I think barrel jeans are like any other jeans. You have to just find a style that looks good on your body, and if
Agree.
they don't, and if you don't like them, then don't wear them.
Right.
I mean, I've tried on 50 pair, and I will probably say maybe there's 2 of the 50 that I'm like, I will go to the grocery store in these, or I'll go to lunch with these because some I'm like, "This is horrific." So I
Right.
don't think it's a style that, is probably for everyone, and
I think
I
people
don't hate
wanna,
it.
like,
I
hate
sometimes
it.
I see them on the internet and so on some of these little cute girlies, I'm like, "Oh, she looks so cute," but then sometimes
Yeah.
I try that on me, I'm like, "That's gonna be a big fail for me, that's a no."
I
So, I
agree.
mean, I don't hate it though. I really don't there's not a lot that I hate, I just think it's just most trends aren't for everyone, and if you don't
Agree.
feel good, then it's not worth it. Because
Totally.
I wanna feel good in what I'm wearing. I mean, everybody does.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Okay, what is the shoe that you are gonna be taking into summer?
I mean, this is gonna sound super boring, but it's like hashtag mom life, but a slide. Like, I'm
Yeah.
literally wearing, like, I bought the Target ones, I got every
Yes.
single one, but I'm like, I'm at the sports field, I'm at soccer, I'm at basketball, like, I'm carpool, so, like, and they're cute and they're comfortable.
They look
So, like,
good
I'm like,
with
I know what I'm
everything.
gonna be wearing probably where, 3 years ago, it's the strappy tie, it's all the things.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. So, like, right now,
No.
I'm putting on a slide most days. I mean, it has some embellishment, so
Yeah, exactly. There you're bringing it to life a little.
I'm elevating it some, but, like, lately, it's just that.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Actually love summer because I'm like, "Ooh, sandals." Like, sandals are just easy, like, the slide-ons of any kind. I
Mhm.
thrive. And
Yes.
then, in the winter, it's like, you can't just like, it's
It's like,
cold,
which
like, you
boot? Yeah,
need
it's like, is it the
Yeah.
high boot? Is it the tall boot? Is it
Right? You're like, "Why?" Sometimes I think, like, "Why does there have to be so many options?" Like, can we just have, like, one that looks good with everything?
right.
Which I guess could potentially be my job to find out,
Yeah.
but sometimes I just want somebody else to
Never
tell
know.
me. Yeah. Okay, veering back a little bit into entrepreneurship. It's not an easy route to choose to run your own business. Have you ever experienced a season of major doubt? And if so, what did you do to get yourself out of that?
I have major doubt multiple times a month, probably. It's like, um, I would say even over the last few years, as I've gotten older, I find in this industry, I doubt myself more and more because I just wanna still have a place where I can belong, and sometimes I
Yeah.
wonder if, like, has that time come and gone for me? But, you have to have your core, you have to have your people who say, like, "Jen, just what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna get through this, like, oh my gosh, this happens or that happens," and I honestly don't know what I would do, whether it's my team or my family, um, but it's usually just leaning into the people who know how to pull me up from that,
Yeah.
um but yeah, it happens, and,
Totally.
sometimes you have to you're human, um, and I also have to tell myself the same things I'm telling my friends, or I try to really constantly be an encourager of my audience,
Mhm.
and I'm constantly saying, like, "Hey, if you're feeling down today, pick your chin up, buttercup, because
Yeah.
you can do it." So, I'm like, I'm saying this, and I believe that to be true, so, like, I need to take my own advice, and so I try to also, do that.
Yeah, totally. No, I get that. Okay, so what is one of the biggest business lessons that you've learned in the last year or two?
I think it's hard because I have, Life and Lilac, and
Yeah,
I feel like in that business, it's so well, I guess both are. It's so much about listening to your customers. Um, it's not about you, and I feel the same way with the sister studio. I like to view everything I'm doing as the viewer and the consumer and not as the influencer.
yeah,
And so with that business, I try to look at it as our customer and not as the owner and the creator. And so you have to look through your business through the lens of the viewer and not
yeah.
yourself. And I've gotten so much better over the years at doing that, but that helps a ton, a ton, a ton, a
Yeah,
ton.
totally. Okay, so let's talk about Life in Lilac. What brought where did you come up with that idea to start a candle company? Does it have plans to grow into anything else? Kind of tell us all about it.
Okay, so I really wanted to create something that wasn't about the size of your body, wasn't about something that you're putting on. Does this make you feel confident? It's not like like the color, or whatnot. So I really wanted something that everyone could have in their home, feel special, feel a way that I could be connected with them that wasn't about something that you're actually putting on your body
Yeah.
or a lipstick that you're putting on your face. I wanted it to be something outside of that. And that's kind of where the home fragrance came into play. Um, and I second guessed it, I really did, but every day I'm like, I'm so happy that that was a direction that we went.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's a great fit for me personally, and my audience has been really receptive of it, and I every time I meet someone out, they're like, "Jen, like, oh my goodness, like, that scent brings me back," or, "I gifted that to so and so, and they just loved it," and so but it was mainly because I didn't wanna do something that was about, you know, how tall or short or size, th
Yeah.
anything to do with that at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure running this whole separate brand with a product is just a completely different beast in itself compared to being the face of a brand. Do you guys have just a whole completely separate team that handles Life in Lilac, or how
It
involved are you still there?
Oh, very, so and it's the only thing too, like, my kids, I don't think even realized I had a job until we had Life in Lilac. They're like, "Oh, so you're gonna have a job now?" Like,
You're like,
"Yeah,
guys,
I'm gonna have a
thanks.
job now, kids."
Yeah.
Listen here. But anyways, like Kyle is totally stepped out of he doesn't do anything with, Sister Studio, but he's very, involved in Life and Lilac too. And the kids, like it's a big family affair there. But yes, we have a team that helps keep everything going. We have customer service and production, we have a fragrance house, and it's a whole different ball game over there,
Yeah.
but we have great, great, great people who are knowledgeable and passionate. I learn from them every single day because I'll tell you what, no matter what business someone creates, you think you know, but you don't know. And you just
Yeah.
constantly are learning and learning and learning and learning. I've learned so much. I feel like I learn something new every day. Um, but I mean, it's customers, it's everything. It's all I care
Yeah.
so much about their experience. I want them to just feel something when whether they're wearing or have it in their home, whatever. And it's been great. Like
Yeah.
it's we're all so super passionate about it in this household.
Yeah. I love that. How is it to navigate that side of things when you were in this industry for so or and still are?
I think the part that I wouldn't even say it's hard, but it's very, very, very important to me is I didn't want the sister studio to change.
Yeah.
Where a lot of times influencers who I love and they create a brand and now the influencing page that they've always shared their family and their life, it's now only their product. I'm like, oh, I kind of miss some of the of what things that were before.
Yeah.
And so that was like the one thing I try very, 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 very hard, knowing that I could sit and talk to you about scents and fragrances and like till you're blue in the face. But I just refrain from that because I want that page, my connection, all that I've shared from the very beginning to stay that.
Yeah.
And Life and Lilac gets to be sprinkled in and it's an added bonus. And I I'm work so hard to make that a successful business too, but I'm trying to do it in a way where it doesn't blend to one,
Yeah.
where they both can they both can be successful in their own way without having to, not have sister studio anymore, not have those fun things and then or just only have that. And so
Yeah.
that's been the hardest part is like making sure I stay true to that goal.
Yeah. Well, and you can tell that like you still are the sister studio, and then Life in Lilac is its own thing, but you are still so passionate about what your followers and consumers get from you on Sister Studio. So it's like really beautiful because, like you said, that's not always the case with people. I mean, I can think of 5 people right now who started a brand and then like the brand is like the thing and they
Yeah.
are just no longer sharing the way that they used to. Um, so I definitely think that that's like you're somebody to look up to in that side of things for sure.
Well, thank you. I try. It's very, very important to me. So I try really hard in that.
Yeah. What are 5 pieces of clothing or products that you cannot live without?
Okay. It would depend on the day and the season and my mood, if I'm being
I know.
honest. But the first thing that comes to mind is dry shampoo.
Yes.
Tweezers, because when you get turned 40 plus, you have whiskers that grow everywhere. And so, like, oh, I would be lost without a good pair of tweezers. So that's a must for me.
That's so funny.
Um, I'll forever and ever love a good pair of jeans that
Mm,
just make you feel like $1,000,000. And so, or
totally.
maybe it's jean shorts in the summer, but like a good pair of bottoms for sure. Um, I am, like, super crazy addicted, obsessed with our, like, little rollers. We have these little perfume rollers with Life and Lilac, and I'm not the best at remembering to wear deodorant, okay? This is
Okay.
I'm
I'm
pouring
not either.
together, like and so, like,
Literally.
we have these rollers, and I have, like, 3 in my purse, and I'm, like, constantly if I smell it, I'm
You're like
like,
a little
here,
roller.
and they're just small, and nobody knows, it's so discreet, but, like, I don't those things change my life because I'm like, "Oh my god, do I smell?" Like, I get nervous. So those, and
Maybe I
then
need to order some of those for
yeah, I'm
myself
telling you,
because
all of my friends have the dang rollers in their purse. I'm like, "Are we a smelly bunch?" Because like, we're constantly like, "Okay, maybe I need to, like"
rolling.
anyways, and then I would probably think like a skincare product. Right now,
Mm,
like, I'm super into Paula's Choice has this, like, collagen boosting peptide serum, and I always, like, feel like if I could only take one skincare, like, on vacation, that's usually the one right now,
yeah.
like, I'm always trying a million things, but that
Yeah.
product has been, like, something I really, really love,
Yeah.
and I gotta, keep the aging to a minimum, so I would pick it's definitely a skincare product for sure.
I love it. Those are all great things and things I feel like I, like, think about with you, like, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, she would say that. She would say that." So funny. Okay, well, I wrap up all of my podcasts with this question. So, what is the most meaningful act of kindness that somebody has extended to you that has had a lasting impact on your life?
I could think of several if I'm being honest, but what comes to mind, this is gonna sound silly and cliche, but it is very, very true, and I will probably cry talking about it, is the women in my DMs because, like, there's been so many times where I'm feeling down, like, I'm just
Yeah.
down, and this industry has gotten harder and harder and or whatever it is, and so, like, I pray, like, "Oh my gosh, Lord, like, I need, like, a pick me up," and lo and behold, every time I will open my DMs and someone will be like, "Hey, Jen, you're on my heart this morning, and I just wanna tell you, like, I
Gosh.
look forward to your post every day." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I am so grateful, like
Yeah.
and I know, like, a lot of creators don't spend a lot of time in their messages because I've heard stories, like, it can be a very dark place,
Yeah.
but the women and I don't know if it's, like, the age demographic or what it is, but I mean, there have just been times where I'm, like, feeling defeated or whatever, and, like, I mean, every time I will open those messages and somebody felt compelled to send me a message that has, like, changed my, like, whole mood, and I
Yeah.
try to pay that forward. I try to be that I really tried now more than ever to be that for my audience with
Yeah.
little tidbits of, like, feel-good messaging because one little act of kindness, one little sweet message from a stranger or whoever can, like, turn your whole, like, day around. And
Totally.
I have been impacted by women in my community, like, countless times. Um, and, like, I think that's too why, like, people are like, "Oh, you care so much." I'm like, "Yes, I do."
Yeah,
Like,
these are
I
like
care
people
because
that
like, how
yeah.
can you not, like, have people who impact you in a positive way and not care so much about what you're sharing with them and making sure that you have their best interest always, and, like,
Yeah.
I will go to bat for that, whatever, and so, I think that's been the one, like, true gift in this industry over, like, a partnership or over whatever is just, like, um, how the people in my community have
Yeah.
made me feel.
Totally. Do you remember that, her name's Miss Lisa what's her last name? And she used to message you and me all
Yes.
the time, okay, and then we went, like, a little bit without hearing from her. Well, she messaged me the other day and was just like, "Hey, thinking about you," and I, like, always think about how she used to message us,
Yes,
and she would tell
I
us
would
about
see
her
her bubble
daughter and her
remember I'm there saying,
weddings.
like, "What happened to her?" But
Ye
this is what happens when you have people that DM you,
yes.
like, know their face. She had
Yes.
blonde hair, like, I remember her.
Yes. I know. I need to look back at what her last name is because, like but anytime I see her name pop up, I'm always like, "Miss Lisa, like, hi, like, so good to hear from you." Because it's so like, there's just people that I think and then early on where you could just have those conversations and, like, you and I've been through hard things on the internet where people have, like, helped get us through. I mean, and just sharing stories that people can feel connected to. It's just such, like I mean, it's not lost on me that this job is, like, such a gift and, like,
Yes,
God has us, like, in this place
yes,
for a reason, but as much as we're impacting other people's lives, like, like you just said, like, they're
yeah,
impacting your life
and
too.
I think too as we get older, and I hope anyone who listens to this episode, if anybody does, but you are a woman especially, and you give grace to people, and you're slow to judge, and you
Yeah,
just, like, get like, that is I don't even because it's so innate in a lot of us, like, that's just maybe that's just how we are, but you don't realize, like, that is a gift.
yeah,
And so, you know, I'm, like, thankful for women who are just and God, women are so like, they know, like, "Jen, you seem off, checking on you, like, are you
yeah,
okay, girl? Like, do I need to beat
yeah.
somebody up for you?" Like, they're like, "No, girl, I'm good. I'm just tired. I didn't sleep good last night," or,
Right.
whatever. Um
But just to, like, have this army of people behind you
Yes,
that
it's
are,
like
like,
this
your
army. It's like you're
people.
like yes,
Yeah,
like, I'm so thankful, like, for the women who see my true heart, who they
yeah,
feel like, they would go to bat for me or,
yeah,
whatever, and check in on me, and it's been great, especially some who've been there. You have your ride or dies who've been with you since the beginning,
totally.
and you like, they know.
Yeah. They
It's great.
know. That's so true. Well, I really appreciate your time today. I feel like this has been so fun catching up with you, asking a few, fun business questions, giving our listeners some advice, and just makes me always wish that we lived closer and could
No, I
actually
love
just
you.
like hang
We
out
need to
in
go
person.
somewhere
I know.
and, like, chat. I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you. I watch you
Ah,
always, and you're
thank
aging
you.
backwards, and I kinda get mad about that, but it's fine.
It's so funny. I
The
like,
girls are gorgeous, the new puppy, like,
thank you. Oh my
Chris is
gosh.
running across the world, like
Literally, I'm, like, hoping he's teased me being like, "I think I might retire from running marathons," and I'm like, "Really? Like, what are you gonna do
no.
with yourself? Like, do you even know how to not
Yeah.
run?" I don't know, but we're staying busy doing all the things, and yeah, it's
Well,
wild.
keep doing you.
Well, thank you.
Light shines bright, girlfriend.
I appreciate that. Well, you guys, I will link, all of Jen's Instagram, her website, all the things in the show notes. In the off chance that you're not already following her, you can go give her a follow. She is just one of my favorites on Instagram. So, Jen, thank you again so much for being here.
Thank you. I love you so much.
Love you.